Welcome to the Mortgage 101 podcast with Anthony and Manley. Anthony, aloha.
Manley, aloha.
How's it out on the islands, my friend?
It is sunny and 75. I got this issue where I'm getting, what is it called? Yeah, sand in between my toes. My hand is getting numb from the drinks. I'm surviving. What about you?
You look like you got a couple of red spots from the umbrellas poking you in the eye while you're drinking. Here over in Wisconsin, it's a little different, my friend. It's a little different. It's at balmy 52, which is unusual for January in Wisconsin, but we've had some deathly cold and some high winds going on. But I don't mind Wisconsin winter, and I love it here. I wouldn't survive in Hawaii all the time, but I'm glad you're loving it. You like that heat.
It got under. We got busted out the jackets and the flannels because I think we got down to 71 degrees last night. So it was really bad there for a second. We're thinking, are we going to survive this, family? But we made it.
Oh, too funny. Awesome. Well, hey, we're doing our first The Mortgage 101 podcast together, and we've managed to figure out how to link up through some technology. I got a great studio guy in the background here that's helping me, Kevin Hansen. I just wanted to do a shout out for Kevin. But I think our intent is to try to do this monthly, correct? And maybe not at the end of the month every month, but what do you think?
Yeah, I think we can dish it out at least every 30 days to give our viewers, just some sound advice on all things mortgage to really just put their finance, their goals, and their success to another level. We're in the trenches every day. We see things every day that we can help people understand to where we can save them the time, the pain, the agony, and really just propel their situation forward without having to see what we see on a daily basis.
Well, hence the name for me, the Mortgage 101. Take it down to the really layman's version, walking somebody through what the process should be like and what they should expect from a good loan officer, and then go from there. That's what I hope to get out of this. And two experts in the field. Anthony, I've been doing this for just about 24 years. I don't think you've been doing it quite as long, but you've done a billion loans already in your world, so you have the experience behind it. So that's why I'm super excited about doing this together with you.
I think, we come from different sides of the spectrum. That's why on our backdrop, on one side we have palm trees and on the other side we have pine trees. And that shows that we encompass every part of the beautiful United States of America. And so I think over the coming months and years, we're going to be able to generate, content that could be relatable to whether it's the first-time home buyer or it's the savvy investor or it's the VA client or it's the first-time down payment assistance buyer or the single mother. Everyone's going to be able to come away with an understanding on what to expect for that situation, which again, knowledge is power, and the more knowledge people have, the more power they have for themselves.
And this is a great forum and a tool that they can go back and look at it and try to learn and understand again what might be missing in the process that they were going into, and what they should expect, and really a good educational tool on how to get through the mortgage process as unscathed as possible, because there's no doubt about it. It can be tough on people. It's a documentation race, and we have some great products here at our wonderful company, Rate, that is pretty amazing that it's happening right now as we speak, with all the smart underwrite and everything. It's going to take a bunch of that away in the right scenarios, but still there's other process of simple things that people don't understand. Great client today did not understand what escrows mean for taxes and insurance today, and we're 10 days away from closing, and I've had multiple conversations with her, and it was interesting, like, okay, what am I missing? She's a very intelligent person, but none of it was clicking for her. And so the insurance thing got a little sideways for her today, and it was just talking her through. So
yeah, I think you're stating, which I think is the premise of this podcast is breathing confidence into the consumer. And the more confidence that they have and the more educated they are, then the less question marks and the less fear they're going to have going through the whole process from start to finish. So it starts with understanding the process and then doing some deep dive. So that way, they're going to be able to come away with listening to us going, I know enough to be dangerous. I know enough to understand what to expect. And that's all we want, right? We want educated and confident buyers. We do not want buyers in the dark or buyers scared and making decisions based off of fear. We want buyers to be making decisions off of confidence. And that's why you got that flannel, and that's why I have that green bush behind me.
I know, but you look good. You look good. I'm a little disappointed you don't have your umbrella drink out with you right now, but we'll let that go this time.
Yeah, I got my coffee that I've been nursing for a while. That's basically it. And then I don't know if you've tried this, but truff sauce, it's good stuff.
Yeah,
it's like $45 a bottle, but it's jalapeno lime black truffle infused hot sauce. And I don't know if you're like me, but sometimes I forget to eat. A couple times a week I'll forget, I didn't eat on Monday, or I didn't eat on Tuesday, in the lending world. So my wife, she does a good job of like coming into the cave and says like, eat.
Eat, Papa, eat.
Yes, correct.
Oh, goodness. Anthony, why did you decide to get into mortgages?
I got into mortgages not by a purpose, but by desperation. My first mortgage was at 16 years old. So my father passed away of cancer, God bless his soul, and we had a foreclosure sign on the door. And my mom and siblings were out of their mind, and now I'm the man of the house, even at 16. So yep. I took my butt down to a Wells Fargo and said, what is this? And luckily, I talked to the right guy, and he sat me down for hours and kind of went through a mortgage and a payment and amortizations and due dates and all that. And so I came away with a respect of the industry, knowing that if I ever got into finance, I would want to be in a position like that gentleman was, helping a 16-year-old try to find answers of a solution that he had no idea existed. My solution was I had to work 3 jobs while going to high school still and come up with thousands of dollars within a 90-day period before foreclosure started. And I did that, and I saved our house, and that's how I got my first mortgage at 16. And ever since then, I've been down the road of helping the impossible become possible. And the biggest takeaway I can say for our viewers is our biggest obstacle is ourselves, because it's all about perception. And if you perceive that something can happen, then that's what you're going to think, and that's what you're going to feel, and that's what you're going to do. So my big takeaway of going into this business was to breathe in confidence, to show people that the only obstacles that are in their way with home ownership are themselves. And once they understand that, amazing things can happen, like home ownership, financial stability, nest eggs, passive income, all of the above that comes with the joys of home ownership.
Awesome story. Holy cow. That's got some real meaning to it and got some teeth behind it. That's wonderful. And sorry that you went through that, but it changed your life for the positive. That's the silver lining. Oh,
I made a lemonade factory out of lemons. Most people, they look at it and they're just like, oh, but me, I'm like, man, that's a lot of potential lemonade. And, yeah.
Yep. My story is a little bit different on my first mortgage as a young adult. I was a friend of mine that was a loan officer, and I really felt completely uneducated through the whole process. And I was kind of thinking it was because she was a friend and she was assuming that I knew all this stuff. And so then I finally just slow the truck down. I need answers. I need to understand. And I just quiz okay, now I understand what's going on and what I'm getting into and blah, blah, blah. And after that, she's like, you should really be a loan officer because you know more about this than the majority of the loan officers out there. And I had some other friends that were in the industry that it sort of just clicked. And I had left another job that I was in the finance portion of, a commercial design build company. And so it's sort of, I had this natural fit that it just worked out. And I've always focused on the educational aspect to my clients. Like, I really want to educate you and give you, empower you with knowledge and not have you feeling like I was feeling during my transaction for the majority of it until I set my foot down and said, no, this is stopping until I get a full grasp of why, where, and when. And so, my conversation with the majority of my clients is typical for me to tell them I'm a terrible salesperson, but I'm a really great educator. And I'm really here to tell you what you can do, what your possibilities are. I'll give you some other options, and I'll tell you why that some of these options are better than others. And I'm going to let you decide, and I'm going to help you pump the brakes if you're making a bad decision, and tell you why I think it's a bad decision. But ultimately, it's going to be your decision. So that's been my approach in my 24 years of doing this, or 23 plus, I guess. And that's what I love. I love the aha moment when somebody, like you said in those great words, discovered the impossible is possible.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's like a light bulb. You can see it go off in their
off.
expression, and that's the beautiful part about it, right? It's because each client has a different story and a different journey and a different box of ingredients that needs to be made to make that cake. And so we are modern day financial explorers. Our job is to explore the uncharted territory of that client and find the gold. And that's what we do every day. We find the gold in the form of pre-approvals, and more importantly, a roadmap of how we got there, so that way they can replicate it, and more importantly, they can understand it. I know, when we were in Chicago a couple months ago together, you said you like to educate your clients so that way they fully understand what they're doing. And I think that's so important because so many, constituents in our industry, they just push a button like a mill and just get them out and get them approved. But when you ask that client, like, what's an amortization schedule? What's your PITI? When are your taxes due? Looking at, a lot of things that they don't even know because they were just pushed by a button and they're like, I'm approved. So I think it's important that people in our profession take the time to really educate the client on what they're doing, because it not only helps us because it creates a strong bond and a trust, but it also helps them because now they're making sound decisions, not based off of a dude who's wearing some super cool red glasses or, Brad Pitt's lookalike. It's like, we have to breathe in confidence to them.
Well, exactly right. We're just trying to empower people with knowledge. I think we're on the same page there of how we approach this. And the person that instilled that in you was that person who spent the time with you at 16 years old and taught you, because a lot of people wouldn't have given you that time. They would have just said, oh, you're 16 years old. You shouldn't be here. Your mother should be here. Like, what's
That's right.
on?
And I can look back and I can see, with a lot of my clients, just really giving them the vision and how that changes their whole trajectory and their whole vibes. We have clients who come to us and they're just like, I don't think I can get approved, and I don't know, and I'll just give it a shot. And then by the time we're done with them, they're like bright-eyed and bushy-tailed, and they're like, I know my payment, I know my out-of-pocket, I know what type of loan I'm doing, I know my purchase power, I want to get out there now, I can already paint the house what I want, I already know exactly what I need, I know the dogs that go over there. Like, just like, they're like a new person. They're like, they just have life breathed in them because they now see the vision.
The light bulbs just are popping like crazy, and I love those aha moments when they figured out that they can do it. And even I've helped lots of people that this happens when they can realize they can buy a second home. They can do something more for their stuff. And I love talking about that financial aspect and that umbrella of growth that you can create by buying a second home, by buying a home that maybe in your mind was a little out of your realm, but from an appreciation standpoint, buying a $200,000 home versus a $400,000 home, the monumental financial decision that makes for you long term is massive. And if you can
Huge.
articulate that through numbers, I'm a numbers guy. The numbers are going to tell us what to do, and I'm going to try to put that in front of you. Those are the moments that really get me excited.
Yeah, when we show our clients, that home ownership is not just one dimensional. There's like multi dimensions. It's not like, oh, I now own a piece of property. No, now every time you pay your mortgage, you're paying down the principal. That goes in your pocket. You're gaining appreciation every year. That goes in your pocket. You have tax incentives. That goes in your pocket. This could be a cash flow, bonanza when you do not sell the house, but you leverage it and you upgrade to a different house, and now you have cash flow. That's just the tip of the iceberg that homeowners don't even realize that they have because they've never played in that playground. And it's up to us, the professionals, to really educate them and show them what they're really dealing with. It's not just home ownership on a aesthetic level, but on a financial level. It's a game changer.
It's a game changer, and that's the big thing, that your overall wealth that you're going to create for your life through home ownership is massive. And that's why years and years ago, that was the American dream, to get every American to have the ability to be a homeowner, because it's a real game changer from a financial aspect. So
Yeah, and you
there's
hit
a
it right
bunch
on
of
the
political
head.
stuff right there, but I don't want to get into that. But
And I'll get into it because you basically, the financial, the American dream to some is dead. Okay, meaning you look at most people's income versus the cost of living for houses, and when you look at it with a lens, face value, it's dead. It's like there's no way, with inflation and cost of living and the cost of I looked at the PITI, the principal interest tax insurance, and I looked at, in the last 4 years, it is absolutely astounding, the increase in cost, and the cost of the house, the increase in cost and the cost of the loan, the increase in cost and the cost of the insurance and the taxes. Everything's going up, but the wages are staying stagnant or going down. So this is a perfect example of, you can either be that person that lets a situation or a circumstance dictate your outcome. So if I was that lamb and said, well, I can't buy a house because cost of living's going up and my wages are staying the same, and then you can be that lamb and you can march in that beat. Or you can decide not to let a situation or circumstance dictate your outcome. And you can figure out, what is that obstacle in my way and how do I obliterate that obstacle? And the only way to do that is, you cannot go around the obstacle. You have to go through it to understand what that obstacle is, so that way it never becomes an obstacle again. And so that's really, over the past couple of years, I know you can attest to this, we're coming with that more and more. It's, well, I don't know how I can afford this house. I don't know how I can afford the payment. I don't know if my job is going to have security and it's going to be here. I don't know if I'm going to have this or that. And we have to really train our clients to understand you have to look at it in a different way. Meaning, yes, you can't afford a $2,500 payment right now, but what you can do is take that $900 Tacoma payment and you can turn it into a $200 Prius payment, which frees up $600, and now you can afford it. And that mind shift, you would think, is, oh, that's easy. But a lot of people don't think of it that way, and you'd be surprised, the epiphany, and they're like, oh, wow, you're right. Maybe I should start investing in real estate rather than, Toyo tires. So I agree with you 100%.
Yep. And the beauty of it is, we have the tools to help articulate this, showing the math. We have the same tools that we use together to show a rent versus own, and then the cost of waiting, because we're worried about the market right now and interest rates, and we're going to wait out the interest rate market. We have those great tools and again, I'm always going to say this: let the math tell us some stuff here, and we can put those together easily, and we'll go.
Even bigger. My mantra is, again, if we really think about, don't let the situation or circumstance dictate the outcome. It does not matter what the issue is. It matters how we take care of it. And so with people stop dead in their tracks of, well, house prices are too high, or they stop in their tracks of, well, that mortgage payment's going to be too high. If they stop looking at it like that and they look at it, whatever I need to do to make sure that's not an issue, I think that's the important takeaway here of, one, you need to understand those numbers in order to start making these decisions, right? And that's where you and I come in to really bring it down to where they understand, okay, this is what it looks like. And then once you understand it and you recognize it, then we come up with a plan. What can we do to circumvent the issue that's in front of you? And over these next coming podcasts, we're going to have some amazing stories on how we have helped clients overcome these obstacles and become homeowners, because I guarantee you, if it happens to one, it happens to many.
Yep. My goal for this is to bring forth those stories, show the educational tools that we can provide and get people comfortable for what it is, but also take it down to the 101 level, like how do we come up with debt to income? How does this affect you? How does that? What does he mean by changing that $900 Toyota? How does that really impact what I'm doing? Well, that's part of your debt to income ratio, and we're going to support that debt to income ratio, because we're going to buy a $400,000 house instead of a $200,000 house. In 5 years from now, the $400,000 house is going to appreciate at 8.1%, whatever it is, versus $200,000. 5 years from now, you're going to be kissing me going, thank you very much for talking us through. Like it's so super simple. That's what I want to do together. And we both have all the expertise to bring it down to a nice, simplified level, and, take it through a process of talking about the components of the loan, talking about what's happening with loans, and some current, state of the state, what's happening in the marketplace right now. Super simple.
Yeah, I mean, it's now more than ever, with so many unknowns and so many changes that are going at a rapid speed, education is key. And so if people don't know what they're doing and why they're doing it and how they're doing it, then they're not going to be doing it. And so one thing we don't want is a stagnant buyer who's on the sidelines waiting for the perfect opportunity, because that's going to put them in a catatonic state to where it's never going to be perfect. Everything's calculated. Walking across the street is a risk of getting ran over. The calculated risk is you have the aptitude to look both ways. Same with mortgages and home ownership. It's calculated risk to buy, but as long as you are mitigating those risks with knowledge and understanding and being 2 steps ahead of the game, now you are, basically the quarterback to your own game. And that's the takeaway here. Mortgage 101 podcast is to not only educate you on the options, but how to do those options. That's important. And don't just take a guy in a blue shirt or a guy in a red shirt that's going to have your best interest. I want you to really understand what you're doing so you can trust but verify at the end.
Yep. Awesome. Well, I'm excited for this. I'm excited for this to continue for the both of us and see what kind of growth we can get and really help some people out there, and looking forward to it from afar, waving out to all the palm trees in Hawaii right now. And we got the little shiver in the cold wind over here in Wisconsin, but it's all good. We're looking forward to it. And anything else you want to say on a departing?
Yeah, I just enjoy the hot cocoa, because we don't have an opportunity to drink hot drinks out here. I kind of miss it. Starbucks is usually cold drinks and not the hot drinks. So just when I look at you, Manley, I think of a warm cup of hot cocoa, and it's something that I miss. So
I like it.
Maybe
you're welcome here anytime, my friend. We could do this live in studio here at the Red Rooster Studio.
maybe next time or throughout the podcast we can role switch, and you can show up in the flip flops and the towel, and I can you show up in the flannel with the scarf, and we can try to lie to ourselves that we're in a different time zone.
Too funny. Well, Anthony, it's been a great pleasure, and I'm really looking forward to sharing our knowledge with people and hopefully empowering people to get involved, get a mortgage, buy a home, make the impossible possible, create those aha moments for people, which is why I'm in this business altogether. That's what really excites me about the business. It can be very
Amen,
mundane,
brother.
but that's what I'm here for. So,
Sweet, brother.
all right. Great having you here today. Great that we're together from afar, and looking forward to the future.
Till next time.
Adios.